Right, guys, welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast. My name's Adam, and as always, joined by Baker. How are you, mate?
Up the Europe. We're good.
Up the Europe. Lovely.
Goff's
Happy
good.
days.
Spurs won.
That's a positive. That's a positive. We'll just take it as a positive. Outcome bias and all that sort of stuff.
And nothing controversial happened all weekend.
Nothing at all. Mate, I tell you why we know there's something controversial going on. There's 150 people already in the YouTube chat. Like, people are angry. People want to know what's going on. And people want to hear our opinions on the games that happened. I mean, like, generally, how was your weekend, though? Was it all right?
Yeah.
Sitting around watching golf mainly, right?
Literally sat around. Obviously, we podded, was it Thursday night, and a bit croaky. I'm a bit less croaky, but yeah, I haven't been feeling great, so I didn't do very much, and therefore then perfect excuse to sit around and do very little. So yeah, pretty lazy weekend. Just front of the tele. Really weird, only having one game of football today, wasn't it? Really weird.
Yeah, bizarre. Actually, it was kind of nice with the Ryder Cup Sunday, to be fair, as well, because I really didn't want to watch more than one game of football. And to be fair, I only caught bits of the Forest Brentford game anyway, because I was more focused on the golf than anything else. But we're here anyway. We have to be here. So
we do.
We've had a look through.
We've
had a look through. So
we can't win either on this because we talk a lot about. I'm wondering if people are in because we talk about officials a lot, because we do talk about officials a lot. So we should talk about officials, but it's like, how much time do we want to spend talking about officials? Like we've got
how relevant is it to FPL other than like completely game changing stuff?
I think it's never been more relevant to FPL because of us, because of, as in all of us that play it. So like, people in general are not doing as well as normal.
Yeah,
that's a pretty fair statement. Is a lot of people are not, sitting in the top 10K. And there's crap loads of millions of engaged managers. And then as people get it right, they become more engaged. And that's what happens every start of every season is people that do well for the first 2 weeks, then even if they just lucked out on it, then they'll be like, oh, well, I'm watching everything now because I'm winning. And that will keep on, we'll fight against that for ages and ages. So because we're all a little bit tense, a little bit, more critical maybe of our own selves, of how we're playing, our own mental states and how we are, then when things don't go right, especially if they're not good for us, it's so more triggering, isn't it? Yeah. Like, it's such a bigger trigger because you're like, God, if that goes in, that's worth that, and then that equals this, and like, so the whole thing is just big. It's big. So VAR then does massively impact us because we think we've been robbed. We from the game yesterday, just like, those things are nonsense. Where we have that feels very special. We've had lots of apologies already this season, but when you have something that should be really factual, because every other decision has elements of subjectivity, elements of it, but that one didn't. And literally, as soon as it was first replay, I was actually chatting back and forth with a Liverpool mate at the time, and I was like, well, that's onside. And then you waited for it, and you're like, oh, this didn't. But I'm pretty sure that one was definitely onside. And then I was like, I try to give it benefit of doubt. I'm like, maybe you can't quite see that he's released the ball at this point, so maybe that's not the case, and we're all going to just see this still. And then you're like, this is just bad, man.
I remember just sending the message immediately to you boys, like, where are the lines? Like, because the lines just assume, if there are no lines there, you just assume that it's really blatant.
Yeah.
And the only conclusion I think everyone came to was that it was blatantly onside, if anything else. So it's like, how does that even come about? And the spiel that came out afterwards, I think, is a nonsense. And if that is the truth, I don't
even think that's true. I don't think that's true.
We kind of just have to almost. Well, it's either. Well, what is the truth then? I mean, because like, don't
they put on the picture? Oh, I mean, I'm not sure.
We've listened.
Don't they put on the picture the onside thing or something like that?
But we've listened to but we've listened to some of the mic'd up stuff, and we've listened to the referees talk to the VAR and say, my decision was right. So the VAR should know what the on-field decision is. The VAR is watching the fucking game. Like they're literally watching the
Nonsense.
same TV as us, really, with a few different
Yeah.
extra angles. Like they know what's happened. The whistle's blown. The whole crowd has cheered. Like, what, they're not listening. I just don't get it.
Like I say, and then the 5-10 seconds after it, like when you like, because we can go back 3-4 minutes of half. So like, why don't they just go, hold on, sorry, no. Why aren't you kicking off? That was a goal.
Well, this is it. So I saw something that Dale, ESPN, said apparently once the kick is taken, like, so once Tottenham take the free kick, apparently you can't go back. I think that's a ridiculous rule, right? I mean, there has to be some level. You can't just go 20 minutes later and go, "Oh, lads, actually, just take 20 minutes off the clock because we need to go back to that decision." But
You're
you should be able to
if the
figure it
ref
out.
doesn't go, do you know what I should do here? I should stop this and go and talk to the managers.
Yeah.
Do you honestly
so,
think the managers like would go if he went, look, we've messed up there. That was onside. We know it was onside. I am 100% confident at that point it happens. But
and you'd have to just announce it on the tannoy, wouldn't you? You'd have to explain it on the tannoy. This is what happened. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're all going to get angry, but this is actually factually what happened. He was onside. It went through. Diaz scored. It's 1-0 to Liverpool.
What I love is then though is that, I mean, they're not helped by the commentators, because then the commentators start spreading conspiracies. How many others is there? How many others is there?
Immediately.
Been? And then you hear it. Like, I've not stopped hearing that in group chats and this and seen on Twitter and all that. How many others are there? Like, well, yeah. I'm pretty sure we'd know about it. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The rest of the decision we can talk about.
We'll talk about during the game. We'll talk about when we talk through the games. But yeah, that decision. I mean, again, I can't think of an error of that magnitude since the Villa Sheffield United Hawkeye thing. Like genuinely of that magnitude.
Yeah, because like I say, it's so factual. Yeah. Like it's different. Offside is different. There's that we can all point at letters to the law and do this bits, but there's always, even if it's 0.001%, there's an element of subjectivity to virtually everything you can possibly do in the game. But there's nothing in that. It's just straight wrong.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Agreed. So moving on.
Week? Well, cheers to Europe.
Cheers to Europe once again. Got a beer and Moretti, so giving it the full.
I've got a fireball because I've got no booze.
Full Italian vibe. Hold on. Wait.
I'm doing a fireball. Go get the fireball.
I don't have anything to drink it out of.
FPL semi-casual messaged on Twitter and said you should do a fireball for Europe, and I was like, I was contemplating just swinging out the bottle, and then I was like, nah, just drink out whiskey.
I don't want to get another. I've got a mug, but I don't want to put another.
Swig it. Cheers.
Cheers, Rory.
Damn it.
Oh.
Well, that's a lighter note.
That's so sweet around the edge, though. I mean, that's like sugary sweet.
So much sugar.
Mad. No, on the Moretti. Cheers, Europe. Oh, how was my game week? Horrific. I don't know who's this one's going to bring up first. Hold on. Yeah, me. Okay, so this disaster class, honestly. I have 42 points because I've got cash coming off the bench, but I've got Pope, Kabore, Sheff. So my Newcastle defence are doing exactly what they should be, apart from not keeping up with Trippier. And obviously got Doku, who was, I think, a little bit unlucky. Bumo, who was obviously, well, we'll talk about that, but not great. Ward-Prowse, who was, again, unlucky in the bonus without any contributions. Like, that's mental. Rashford, meh. Salah, I mean, probably should have had 4 points at least. Haaland, Cap, whatever. And then Alvarez, 8 points. Got Areola on the bench, that's fine. It didn't really matter about decision between those two. Cash on the bench. And then Joachim Anderson sitting third on my bench. Like the star that he is.
This is what I'm saying, though. The whole thing, because of it, it just triggers. It just triggers that everything is this. So, because you're like, damn, if that happens, I've done that. And why did I trust bloody Kabore? Do you know what I mean? Like a Luton defender. Well, you never know. Midweek you might get something. But there's so much of it where it's like so close and so if that we're all in this position. There's so many excellent managers they're
making good decisions and getting punished for it almost. Well, not getting punished, but they're just not.
But then are you? That's the other part.
Well, no,
we
but
don't know is-
so if you go to like FPL Optimize, and I know you have your opinions on that, but like if you look at the weighted gain of my team, like it did pretty much what it was supposed to do. Like it was supposed to do, it was supposed to get what it did, and it was like fine, that's okay. But literally everyone that I didn't own that could hurt me damaged me, like Trippier and Watkins and yeah, it was all just pain.
But maybe this is just how it's going to be for a while, and hopefully it dissipates. Like if you've gambled in any form of any kind, gone to the casino, done some stuff, like you can get lucky and you can have streaks of luckiness, and there's a chance that for 6 weeks you can get lucky. There is a chance. So then we have to keep telling ourselves, because it helps us stay at night, like have some kind of like mad arrogance about ourselves to say we're all right managers, we're pretty good, our history is pretty good in this world, and maybe everyone else is getting really lucky, and there's so many good managers now and so many engaged managers now that there's enough combinations that if you don't get it perfect, you get hurt. And then as that season progresses, well, those managers don't get lucky every week, and therefore it starts to dissipate, and we'll make gains and make gains and make gains. But we do know that we're coming from further behind, and maybe we don't. And
I think it's tougher this year though, because like last year and the season before, we were guided by doubles and blanks, and we had a very clear path as to how we were going to maneuver those through transfers, through chips, through this, that, and the other. Whereas less engaged managers wouldn't even know about these weeks until like the week before or 2 weeks before, in which case they're not ready for them. And so I think in a season where we're going to be, there's going to be less of that. I mean, there's a couple of odd ones, but there's going to be generally less of that this season because it's generally okay. This is a normal season, so to speak. That I think it's going to be a lot harder to actually catch those that are making an early stint.
Yeah. And then the next conversation becomes, though, one of the other reasons why it's hard to catch up is that everyone's captaining the same player.
Yeah, there is that. There's less variance there.
But if 10% of the game are not captaining that player, or 20% of the game are not captaining that player every week, and they're doing much better off not doing it, that also really hurts.
Yeah, it's true.
That really hurts.
It's true. Like 15%
so
on
now,
this week.
Yeah, so now we're like,
not captaincy, but
like, do we start taking chances? Like this is some of the games that we have to plan ahead. I think just in general, we have to just keep enjoying the game as best we can and play the game in the way that we can. I'm trying to be less probably less rigid. I think I definitely would say than I've been before. I'm okay to do early transfers. I'm definitely going to do hits more often. I can feel that.
Yeah.
Because I'm nothing can be worse at the moment than you sit on a red arrow, but also go, and also I haven't got all the players that I want.
I hate my team.
And so I think if I'm in that position, I'm gonna be more aggressive with it to try and get there. I'm definitely, my plan at the moment is try and keep up with wild cards as they go, but I almost feel like that's also telling me that I'm just continually losing.
Yeah.
So
do you want to go to your team?
Yeah. So I did take my first hit of the season. So I took out Bumo and Saka, the first Son and Ward-Prowse. I mean, the problem with being aggressive in your moves is you're always going to have some regret. Like, I definitely wish I still had Saka and had taken out Rashford.
Yeah.
And kind of I knew that. This is a bit I probably have to try and work through, is trying how do I tell myself these things? Because when we went on wildcard, I managed to tell myself that Saka was the best of the assets to have out of those 8 to 9 million. I managed to convince myself that one. But I convinced it by removing Son and keeping Rashford. And then I was like, hold on, now I need to get back Son, because actually I'm really not comfortable not having Son. And then I'm taking out Saka again and still left Rashford. And now Rashford has already left my team. He gone.
Oh, you've made a transfer already?
Oh, he's gone, mate.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah. See you later. Not even a question. See you later. Because also I do need to free some money up, because I've got 2 very cheap midfielders in SA and Ward-Prowse, and I've just got Botman. And if I want to try and get up to anyone in there, I needed to raise a bit of money. So I couldn't really afford to have Salah, Son and Haaland and Rashford. Certainly can't afford it when he's not on it. You can't wait for faith to repair itself. So he's gone. But yeah, I think, with cash coming on for Botman, it's okay. If Kabore somehow smashes it and Morris doesn't go nuts, probably just about get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Morris one's hurt obviously this week. I mean, we'll talk about it through the game, but yeah, the Morris one hurt a bit. It hurt a bit. So okay.
Look, we have talked probably a little bit more about their game than the games probably than we're normally doing it. I think we're like 20 minutes in or 15 minutes in. But I think it's probably a little bit more important because I think just loads of people are just tilting around, and seeing things like, oh, I've got 70 points. And you're like, well, I'm assuming you've got Trippier and Watkins, have you? Yes, I have. Oh, right. And that's it. There's a two-man swing. And if you get both of those, you've had a magnificent week. If you had Morris or if you captain Morris, you've had a brilliant week. Like, it's not 7 or 8 of your players are wrong. It's that 2 of the 3 that you didn't have. And it's like, well, am I comfortable with that again next week? Am I comfortable with that again next week? So we do have to spend more time thinking about that and getting less triggered.
Yep, I pressed that button accidentally, but that's cool because what I was going to say was if you were here on Thursday or if you watched our Thursday video, we said we were going to give away a mug. So if you followed the instructions on that video, then you'll be in a chance to win a mug later. Hopefully you'll still be on the stream. And while you're here anyway, you might as well just hit like. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. And if you want to see more, then you can hit subscribe. About half of the people that watch our content are not subscribed. And we have 6,000 subs roughly. We want to get to 10K. So if like just everybody subbed, then we'd get there. But we'll keep plugging away. We'll keep seeing what we can do to make you make that commitment, that big commitment of clicking that sub button. But any likes, any subscribes.
Not bitter at all. But come on, guys.
I'm just encouraging. But we all have to do it while we're on YouTube. We just have to encourage you to do so. And also to let you know that if you didn't know already, we were nominated as a finalist for the Best in Fantasy Football podcast at the Football Content Awards. So, firstly, thank you very much for anybody that has voted already, and thanks for those that voted towards us being nominated. It's brilliant. Really appreciate it. And the voting link is I said it's in the description below. I don't think it actually is. I'll put it there. But yeah, I mean, voting closes on like the 15th of October. If you want to vote for us, please vote for us. It would be amazing.
Amazing.
That's our only plug on there. You sent me something about you. I mean, this is just along the lines of the discussion you mentioned earlier. What you were mentioning earlier about a lot of good players and that suffering and struggling, perhaps. And I think whilst I find this like elite 1000 thing a bit, as I'm not. It just represents 1,000 good managers that make good objective decisions. I guess is probably the best way of putting it.
I think people are a bit weird on this though. So what people I think a lot of people when they see Elite 1000, they just think it's all about like XG data and the massive data thing. Elite 1000 is about 50% FPL rank. There's nobody in the Elite 1000 that doesn't over, and it's like. People that might know will correct us, but it's like last 3 years. It's not like last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. It's like last 3 years rank is the predominant reason why someone would be in it.
Yeah.
So on average, the managers that are in the Elite 1000 2 years ago, at this point of the season, their average rank across all 1,000 players, and bear in mind some of them, like they might have jammed it. There's going to be some big numbers in there, I'm sure. But on average, they were 166k. Like that's ridiculous. Doesn't even make sense. Last season, at this point, they were 550k. This season, at this point, they're 1.4 million.
Yeah, it's quite a change.
It's quite a change. Now, the good part is the ending. The good part is the ending. So 2 years ago, that 166k finished at 37k average. The 450k finished at 53k average. So it probably suggests that people at 1.4 million will probably finish, I don't know, 75, 80k on average. I think if anyone offered someone a 5-figure rank right now, you just take it. I'd just take it, genuinely, probably.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's tough.
Well, I'd take it because I haven't finished in the top 100k in like 3 years. So yeah, definitely take it.
Definitely take it. It's tough. like it's hard work. Um, and but gains are still there to be made, but the game is definitely getting harder. So don't beat yourself up if you're not doing quite as well as you did last year or so forth. We can just press the buttons. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
So first game.
First game. So we had a little poll to ask whether you wanted the Liverpool Tottenham game first or last, and about 70% of you said first. So we put it like 70% of the way towards the top. So we're not starting there.
There you go.
We're not starting there. Logical. We're starting with Wolves Man City, because there was obviously there was some. Well, I had some. I said that Alvarez wouldn't start. He started. So yeah. What do I know? Obviously. And
we just listened to Luke because Luke makes predictions.
Yeah, well, as soon as you sent me that, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, not that I was taking him out or anything because my other striker is injured, but
yeah,
I mean, Wolves have obviously done a smash and grab here.
Smash and grab.
But 1-0 up at 1-0 up at half time with 0 XG, which is amazing. Or basically 1-0 up. It's basically 0 XG.
Yeah,
which is
DS own goal, isn't it? DS own goal. O'Neil did a great job, mate. I know they obviously didn't concede a lot, but he's restricted him pretty well. Like you can see a general level of control and a general accumulation of chances, but he's never really given them more than like 0.3 in one go. Not even that, like 0.1. Each of the chances that he's given up through the game.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
And
and
like he kept like Haaland was quiet. Haaland was like dead quiet.
Yep.
Doku tops non-penalty XG at 0.31, which is for me that's disappointing. He also topped open play XA 0.24.
He did.
I'm sitting there with 1 point, thinking I'm just gutted that I've only got 1 point. To be honest, it doesn't feel like the worst person to keep hold of at the moment either.
They've got this feels there's a little bit of similarity when we talk about Spurs. We're not similar to Man City, I don't think, in that case, but there is parts of it where they don't really the wingers want to come in way too much. We have that where the wingers want to come in too much, and when this low block is becoming a bit of an issue. Last season with Grealish and Mahrez, he just always kept that width, and then when you keep the width, you can then drop it into KDB, who puts it into a good space, and it's good. This one here, when you play Doku on the left and he's going to come in, you play Foden and he's going to come in.
Yeah, definitely.
They sat in really well for him, and Dawson was just a monster up against Haaland. Good old Dawson.
I love Dawson.
I love him.
Clearance off the line as well.
Such a good pro. But they set up well. They did a good job. Well organised. He's doing a really good job because Ruben Neves is gone. They're going to got the old man Moutinho anymore. Jimenez, who's like, I know injuries and stuff, but still a mainstay around the club.
Yeah.
I think they're working really hard. Fair play to them. I think you look at this and you think, would I bench or sell my Arsenal assets if I owned them right now? I don't think I would. I think like this is, if I'm Arsenal, I'm looking at this and thinking, let's go.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind that. Their fixtures turn nice pretty much straight away, don't they? City, and then I don't know who they've got after that, but Sheffield United at home, and then they've got Burnley, Brentford, Wolves.
I don't think they're the easy sell that I think a lot of us went. I mean, I'm talking from a game where we've already sold them, so we're saying it now, and we've done the business weeks ago. But I'm saying if I still had Saka, would I sell him this week? I'm not sure I would because I've probably got Rashford too, and then I'll probably find I'd sell the Man United players all day long, all day long, and obviously no Rodri makes a difference. But it shouldn't really make a difference to the quality of chance they're creating.
No, because the front 4-5 is no different, really. I mean, I know Rodri's more recently been supporting that, and he's been a little bit let off the leash with Kovacic being there, but they should create. They still should create more. There's a mention in here about. I mean, obviously Rodri is a big loss, There's a mention in here about Hwang should have been sent off. Because I think he got booked early in the game, and then he had that challenge just before half time, and which should have been a yellow. But
we can't spend all time talking about those.
More ref decisions.
We can't. Yeah, Saka might be injured, but hey, you're going to know that by the time we get to it because they've got a European game. So you ain't got to think about it right now.
Yeah,
you'll get a presser tomorrow, which Arteta won't tell you the truth, and then you'll find out in midweek.
Exactly. Okay, so we can move on.
Alvarez, you keep him.
Oh, Haaland.
Yeah. I mean, those wild carding, would you take on Haaland?
It's one way to try and chase the pack because he's still going to be highly owned, isn't it?
Would you, if you sold him on wild card, would you cover him with Alvarez? Can you cover Haaland with Alvarez? I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. There ain't that much difference in points between the boys.
No, you can find you can find other decent captaincy options every week if you've got the best part of 6 million to spread around your squad. Because if you're going 14 million, you're going to Watkins, aren't you? Basically, you're going Alvarez, Watkins, and I mean you could even have 3 up top.
And it's 7 points between them this season.
Amazing.
There's only 7 points between them. And next up, Aston Villa, where Mr. Watkins is now the top point scorer in the game.
Yeah, that's a little surprise, just because he's been ticking away with that. That was his last week was his first goal, wasn't it? So
23 points.
Sickening.
That's it though. Literally, if we get it, if you've got the player that gets it.
Yeah, it was like Boomo in like game week 3 or whatever. If you had the 16 pointer, you had the big week. What do you buy into De Zerbi saying we weren't mentally ready for this game? I can't. I mean, look, Villa have had pretty much the same thing, have they not? Is that just because Emery's a better manager, more rounded, more experienced in this kind of environment, playing like 2 games a week, winning European competitions and that sort of stuff?
The Zerbi takedown. You just gone straight in on a Zerbi takedown.
I don't buy the bullshit though. I don't buy. We weren't mentally ready. Come on. We weren't mentally ready for this game. They lost in midweek and they got battered.
If you just look at the players, if you just looked at the team sheet for each team, and you didn't know anything about it, but you knew about players. You played FIFA. You knew their ratings and stuff like that.
So you go Gilmore, Veltman, Dunk, Mitoma, March. I mean, you just kind of go
you're playing Football Manager. If you're playing Football Manager and you're Brighton, you sell half their team in a day.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
You can upgrade everyone.
You add another manager and then you buy all their players off them for inflated prices and get rid of them like that. The old
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You would be like, I'm getting them gone, mate. Like they have got some pretty average players in that team, and they have lost £200 million of midfield. Like that's a pretty big deal. McAllister and Caicedo is a pretty big deal to lose out of the team.
They still put up like 1 point. What did they put up? 1.6, 1.7.
They did, but they did it in moments. Which is fine, but they did it in moments, so you're like, well, we can talk about matching XG, but when you actually, a pass map's great to look at from them, like Villa stretched them through the pitch. Realistically, they sat deep and hit Matoma occasion on the counter.
Yeah.
They just didn't do it. They didn't get into the top final third. They were
Is that a Welbeck thing? Because I think didn't Ferguson get pulled at like 55 minutes or something like that? He just got pulled straight really early as well. He got pulled at half time, didn't he?
No Gross. So we talk about £200 million midfielder, but then you talk about Gross, who's basically a £100 million midfielder. Like he basically, he is. He literally his creation levels are up with KDB levels. Like, so that's when it breaks. And that's what then, when we say not prepared, it's like, crap, like we overperformed when we were playing once a week last season. Now we're having to do dual competitions, and we're relying on some kids coming through and doing stuff, and that everybody just has good times and everyone loves each other, and it's a lot of vibes in the play. But there's only so much they can do. There's only so much they can do. Whereas this is a pretty polished team, and it's well honed. Villa is a well honed good team. Like
they've got some experienced heads in there that have played together for quite a while. That team's fairly solid, apart from maybe like it's Diaby, right? It's Diaby and
Zaniolo.
Zaniolo had an absolute horror show.
Yeah, but he was replacing, say, Coutinho and Bailey. Like they've always had a couple of these little extra.
He touched the ball like 11 times. Like he made like 11 passes. Like something ridiculous. Like he was a complete nonsense.
He is a nonsense. But they play. Even the sensible stuff they do in recruitment is I have a right-footed centre-back and a left-footed centre-back. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have one that crosses and the one that drives, in terms of the fullbacks. Like, it's all really standard good stuff. We have two midfielders and they double pivot. Anyone heard of that stuff? And then actually, they are still playing as a... So this isn't Ollie Watkins is now there and Diaby's worse because he's out wide. They still played as a tandem, and obviously Diaby ends up with 2 assists. They were still kind of 4-4-2 stroke 4-3-3 at times, but just really solid numbers. Matty Cash is so popular, and like you gotta go Matty Cash. You got Botman, and you got no other issues. Just get him in because he'll be 5 million in no time.
Move on. Anything else to add? Are you calling on Brighton for game week 10?
Let's talk Stupenham. Stupenham's a lot of money. It's 5 million. But Stupenham still had, nearly 0.4 XG. He could have scored in the first 5 minutes. This is one of those things that he ends up with an own goal, so he gets a -2, and it makes a lot of headlines. And now everyone's going to sell him, and I'm like, good.
That's where you want the gains to come. Is by picking up a player like a Stupenham and let everybody else.
If we can have a Stupenham back at 40% owned and still have him in our
40% at 4.9 would be lovely.
Oh, perfect. It'd be the absolute dream. Because let me tell you, as a Stupenham bencher and using a Stupenham non-owner, we did not want to watch that game in that first half. We did not want to watch that game in that first half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a question here just saying, like, why is there such media bias towards northern and southern teams, or even Brighton, saying they get all the praise? Well, I mean, De Zerbi's come in and just basically they've clocked up about 2.4 XG on average for like a season.
Incredible job.
They're a team with no money really, apart from what they sell and reinvest into players that are not superstars. Like the biggest name they've brought in the last 5 years, I would say, is probably Ansu Fati, who's played at Barcelona. Like that's literally it.
But even that's a chance. And
like no one had ever heard of Mitoma. No one had ever heard of Caicedo. No one had heard of these players. Like these players didn't even really exist until they were there.
Yeah.
And then they went and qualified for Europe and battered pretty much everyone on the pitch all season last year.
He then says I'm a Villa fan, and I guess what you might mean is there not enough credit for Villa? I think people will only keep getting more credit for Villa, but I think it's growing. I think Villa are well respected now. I think most people expect Villa to be in the top 6.
Well, there was work to be done by Emery when Gerrard left. Like they were shambles. That's why they were an absolute shambles when Gerrard left, and he obviously deservedly lost his job. Emery's turned them. I mean, what were they like? 19th, 18th, or something last season, and then they managed to qualify for Europe. It was ridiculous achievement as well.
Yep.
So, we're not. I mean, here anyway. I can't talk for mainstream media. We're certainly not mainstream, but we certainly don't overlook teams that improve the way that Villa have done, and obviously the way Brighton have done as well. I mean, we're not excluding either team here. Both are doing.
Let's move on to talk about a less controversial game.
Boom. There he is. There he is.
There he is. Do you know what's so sad?
I feel bad because I don't think actually you made any bad decisions.
Well, I'm gonna try and be the nicer person here, because I thought this. I was like, I'm gonna have to be the good cop, bad cop here type situation here. But first and foremost, that first 25 minutes was absolutely breathless. Like it was so cool. And like we have so much bad blood with Klopp. Like, it happens every time, and he moans every time, even though they win every time, he still moans every time. And when it was like just end to end, fast paced, through the middle, like madness, that moment with Sarr and Biss just taking apart, they took apart Jones and Mac in the middle at that point. Don't forget that point as well. Don't forget that happened 5 minutes before the sending off, that they absolutely made him look stupid with that pass through the middle. Yes, Biss did do that to Curtis Jones. And I was like, this could be a classic. This could be an all-timer. We're going to watch this again and again. It was such a good game. And then, look, we can only talk from, as I said, we've all got skin in this game. we are going to be Spurs fans here. When the challenge goes in from Jones, I made a weird noise. That's what I'll say. Like, ooh. I'll say so, because I was like, that's the end of this. That's the end. Like, he ain't getting up from that. That you just knew it. You just knew immediately that that's bad.
Yeah.
And my concern actually turned really quickly to anger, because Jones laughed off Hooper's foul and yellow card. Like, he laughed it off like it was nothing. And I was like, at that point, I'm then, hold on. Like, I want a red card here. So from this moment on, like, I'm never going to see this isn't a red card, because I'm now pissed. Like so, and then I'm just going to say, well, the ball's over the top, and do that. And what I'm going to say is, whether you think it's a red card or not, you can definitely see that it's a red card. Like, let's not pretend like it's a horrendous decision. And if Basuma was out for the season, is it then okay? And you're like, that's not the way we should play this game. It's dangerous. Like, he went as hard as he could into that challenge. He's missed it. He's hurt him. That's it.
I think he's unlucky. I think he's unlucky. I don't think he goes
really unlucky,
because he goes.
Really,
I think his foot goes into to get to the ball. He goes to try and put his foot behind the ball, or try and get his foot on the ball. His foot goes over the ball and ends up halfway up Bissouma's shin.
Yeah,
that's just literally the outcome of the thing that happened. Like,
and then the rest is just the rules.
The rest is just the rules. I mean, it's just
the rules are the rules. And then we're going to do the
it's a 50-50 challenge. Black screen, you can fuck off, mate. Honestly, it's not a 50-50 challenge.
But what does it matter if it is? It doesn't matter if it is. Only one person is endangering the other person, and that's what you're not allowed to do. And the bit that cracks me up is that, like, when people start saying this mad stuff about, like, they want to do foreplay before the main event. They're like, what we should do is get the guy to come over, and then we'll just, like, replay 5 minutes of the game, watch how it's getting, sitting down, do this stuff, and then make him watch it a few times in real time, and then we'll do it and stuff. Like, they're moaning that they show on the screen. The only reason he's gone to the screen is because the VAR has told him, yeah, I think you should send him off here. He was actually hurting the man. Like, so they're not there to do the foreplay. They're just there to do the main event. They're but literally just there to go. He hit him in the leg. It bent. Send him off.
That's bad.
They're literally, the reason why it's a red card is because it was endangering an opponent. So the thing they should show them is the endangerment of the opponent. Great. The only real takeaways you can then take from the game, once all the rest of it starts, and then all of it, look, I understand why you're angry, like, as a Liverpool fan, because it's really unlucky. The Jota first yellow card it's unlucky. People are pretending that there's no contact. There definitely is contact. The knee hits the studs. The studs then hit the other studs, and he falls over. So that's what
happens when you're running. Have you ever heard of a tap tackle in rugby? Like, literally, you just need the smallest touch, and a foot moves. That's all it is.
If it's the second one, I get the unlucky, but it's not. It's the first one. So then he just dives into a second later.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb. There's zero sympathy once that happens. It's a ridiculous choice.
And then the own goal's obviously unlucky. Apart from, that's also, like, bad defending. like, because you just go through it. You don't swing, you go through it. But he's knackered because he's been running like a nuts because they were so good in defence.
Oh, mate, ridiculous.
They were so
good and so organised. I think at the same time, the one choice that we made to actually go outside of their block, essentially their big wall that they put up,
as opposed to Maddison, made the difference there.
And the one time we actually did it, it was successful. And as you said, you mentioned earlier, comparisons between City and Tottenham in the our players like to come inside. That is all that Solomon and Kulusevski did in that last 20 minutes, as they just came inside. Like, well done, lads. You're just moving towards the wall that is that has literally been immovable for the last 20 minutes. Let's just keep trying that. It was literally insanity what we were doing. And then did the one thing that went on the outside. And then, as you say, Matip was unlucky, but he was exhausted.
The only takeaways when you take them, this is FPL takeaways. This is the only reason why people should be really be here. Do you know what I mean? Is and from it, so what did we learn? Because what we can learn, this is the really useful part, is low block, because we're going to face 2 low blocks the next 2 games. Is what does that mean for Maddison and Son? So Maddison, when games in transition, is incredible. His vision in terms of that's the first goal. You can see what he's done there. Then you show the second one.
Just wait there, just quickly before that. Jivan, if you want to talk about the Diaz goal, we spoke about that at the start of the podcast. We weren't going to talk about it during the game. The Diaz goal was a goal. This isn't a biased review. You can take it if that's the way you want to take it. Then fine. But if you want to hear about what we thought about the Diaz goal, which was a goal, because it's probably the worst decision objectively that's ever been seen in the Premier League. Let's just put that out there. Go back to the start of the podcast. Listen to us talk about it then.
Yeah.
Carry on. Sorry.
So
I'm getting triggered.
No, don't. Like, that's the point. That's why it's not worth looking, in that sense, because it's gonna trigger. We talked about this like at the start. This is everything we do at the moment is triggering. Like it's triggering to us, triggering to them, triggering anyone, because everyone's got something in this game. Like, people either own Maddison and Son, or people own Salah, or people support Spurs, or don't support Spurs, Liverpool, or don't support Liverpool. It's just, that's the way it is. If you put it all one side, what you take away from it, the assets, Maddison. So when the teams sit in, he has to move to that more central position. He ends up moving there just because of progression rather than that left side. When you see the goal he does, it's in the left channel. He can thread a ball through. That's perfect. But he doesn't get those opportunities once the teams sit in. And his weight of short pass is nowhere near as good as his weight of long pass, in terms of how he does. It's so often he hits the ball at people's like chests, thighs, like just too quick. Like, the decision actually is not that great. You actually want him to shoot more often than you want him to pass when it comes to the ball in the middle. And the thing that was great was, obviously Højbjerg came on, and Højbjerg completely changed it in that he was spreading the ball wide, and was, just a much more level head in terms of what he did. So that's interesting enough for the 2 games, but you feel like this is a good opportunity. We learned it's the second time it's happened in recent weeks. And then Son, look,
we don't know whether he can do 90 minutes at the moment. I mean,
we continually don't.
But I don't even know whether that means that he will get a rest against a team like Luton.
Exactly.
That's the thing we don't know.
I'm going to give him
We'll
game
just give you an extra game off. Or I mean, I almost hope that he gets the Luton game and then he finds himself too injured to play on international duty, and then he gets 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
The problem with that is,
surely,
his sense of duty though, mate. He's got a sense of duty like anyone, so like no one, right? So he loves playing for his country. So if he can, he will, and he has to. Yeah,
he has to.
Yeah. So I think Rich Charlison will probably keep his place, and don't see why not.
Brennan might be back by next week.
That might be the only change.
But I do think he'll have looked at it and thinks, maybe I'll just keep Brennan for second halves. Again, similar to what he did against Sheffield United, where he thinks, when I need width, I'll use it.
Yeah.
And find a way for it. But we definitely do have to find a way to be good width-wise. People are going to look at Udogie versus Porro this week. If you've got neither, I think it's a very different conversation if you've got neither. If you've already got Udogie and you've got him cheap, and you paid 4.5 for him, I definitely probably would just keep Udogie. If you've got neither and you don't have any other budgetary issues, it would be Porro for me. It would be Porro for me. Yeah, Udogie's on 3 bookings now. So, one more and you start getting a bit icky. He's not as good on the bonus. And it sounds like he's in the box a lot more, but I think he's got like 0.08 XG for the season compared to like 0.5 Porro. So it's not, it's not turning into a lot of shots for Udogie. Whereas Porro he's just class. He was so good, Porro.
Yeah.
Like in that first 20
both
minutes.
Ways, both ends of the pitch as well.
Both ends of the pitch.
I mean, he had a few counters to deal with, even down to 10 men. But obviously once went to 9, it was just
But it does sound like each week at the moment there's an agreed time they take Son off.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would they have taken him off at 1-0 down against Sheffield United on 75 minutes? Like, that must have been pre-agreed, but nobody asked about it because of the delirium. Whereas this one, it looked more like an injury. So he then gets asked about it and he's like, yeah, we'd planned it.
Yeah.
It was happening. They're hoping rest obviously fixes it. I don't know whether it's maybe some knockover from the hernia previously, whether it gets him, but he's a bit tight.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Moving on. Oh, and just for because we always put the guy who got 3 bonus up on the screen, it was actually Porro who got the 3 bonus. So sorry, Pedro's been done here. He's been done, but
he's been done.
Yeah. United versus Palace.
So Anderson's the top scorer and defender in the game.
That's 3rd goal of the season as well.
He's now got 1 more point than Salah for the season. He's got more points than Trips.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. He's a baller. Not even the goal he scored, but he still topped him for XG for the game.
Yeah. His goal was what, like 0.08 XG or something?
He still ended up with 0.6 penalty XG out of what? 0.8 in total?
0.8 in total, something like that. Yeah, hold on, let me just double check that. Yeah, it was pretty. 0.11 was his goal. Oh, It's literally on the screen. I mean, I'm there checking other things. It's literally written on the screen. 0.11 was his goal. 0.6 total. Yeah. So
he's a monster.
He had most of it.
He's a monster. He's a monster. He's a set piece monster. He is a baller.
That finish was ridiculous as well.
He's just a really good player.
Yeah.
Really good player.
I mean, this doesn't say that United are particularly broken. I mean, they had a lot of the game. They were obviously in the ascendancy for most of the game, but are they just getting unlucky? I know, like, Højlund didn't have much, but he had a few shots, and he led the team in XG at 0.62.
If I look at their pass map, it looks better. It looks like Bruno is getting tighter in the 10 position and getting further away from the centre midfield position, and I'm like, that's a good sign.
But you'd expect that with Amrabat and Casemiro in there, surely. Like, you just expect him just to migrate forward.
You would expect that. It looks like Amrabat's almost making a back 3-ish, and Dallow's getting forward a bit more. It all looks okay. I think a lot of it is all okay. There's just not a lot of confidence there. There just isn't a lot of confidence there. And it's rain time in Manchester. I mean, it was raining, and it just suddenly gets a bit more miserable. But Rashford's just a big deal. Like, if he's not on, the goals ain't coming. Is Bruno's doing all the right stuff in the movements, but you're like, you can't sit around with 17 million in this midfield. I know the fixtures are there, but there's not that much you can do about it. You do ask yourself, you have both of them now, you have to look at it and say, it's so close to being Sheffield United time. It's so close to being Sheffield United time. Do I just have to keep gambling?
When is
Gambler's
when
fantasy
is
and keep
when is
going
that
with it.
game? Game week 9.
Game after next. Yeah.
Yeah, Brentford first, and then them.
You
Then
know,
City,
Brentford.
then
Well,
Fulham and Luton.
Brentford.
I mean, it's just
It's so good
it's
that
tough.
do you just need to? But it's so hard to stick right now. It's so hard to stick when it's hurting so much. And obviously on wildcard, it becomes even harder. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, if you didn't know what happened in the first 7 weeks and then you were wildcarding now in game week 8, you'd look at the fixtures and go, well, I'll have Bruno and Rashford, thanks.
Yeah. Probably Dallo as well, or someone like that.
And Dallo. Yeah, because now, if they haven't got a fit left back, then they've got to put him as the only person going forward. Perfect.
Yeah.
But what can you do? Just sell them all. That's what I've done.
Fair enough. We'll talk about who you've brought in. I don't even know who you've brought in. I assume you've brought in Son.
Who have I brought in? I've
Son.
already got Son.
Oh, you brought in Madison. Yeah. Fair enough. Let's move on then.
That's what I'm saying. At least if you're not smashing the top 100K or whatever it is, then you might as well enjoy it. You might as well enjoy the players you got.
That's very true. That's very true. There were no pictures of Vladimir Coufal on his own anywhere on the internet in the recent ones. So we've gone with his official Premier League one here.
Hey, Coufal was well good. Like, this, because of ownership, I was like, actually, Areola and JWP was the game at 3:00 that I could benefit the most from. So I thought I'll watch this one. I mean, Sheffield United kind of never felt like they were going to score, which is good. Albeit they did have a couple of decent chances, and Areola is he's on it. He's on it. Like, I think I'd be really tempted to just set and forget Areola if I was on wildcard as a way of saving money. I've got Flecken as my other keeper, and I'm like, it has to now be a really bad fixture to play Flecken over. Over Areola.
They're about to come into some good fixtures, West Ham. So there's definitely, you can justify it that way.
I just set and forget him. I wasn't comfortable doing it at the time. I know our pals off did it with Turner, and it was more that I just didn't like the Turner option. And it was only a few, 0.4 million more or something, but that's becoming more and more important as the weeks go on. I'll just set and forget Areola.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Just stick him in. But
we need to talk about James Ward-Prowse.
We didn't get any points from him.
Yeah, well, we got a point. We got a clean sheet point, and we got a bonus point.
We got a bonus point despite the fact that
he did nothing.
He did nothing.
Nothing. In
29 baseline is just absurd. Getting a bonus when the whole team kept a clean sheet.
Yeah.
A defender got an assist.
Yeah.
And 2 midfielders got goals. So he got more. It doesn't even make sense, but he did. He managed to get it.
Well, a load of them did. There's about 5 people that got bonus in this game. I think Zuma got a bonus.
Yeah, free finish on 29. Finish on 29.
Loads of them did.
And he was so close to the pullback from Coufal going to JWP, not Bowen. So close.
That move was disgusting, by the way. Just putting it out there. That move was ridiculous. That whole passing network for that move was just ridiculously good.
The whole team was so good. And Paqueta, like, the best player on the pitch was Paqueta, to be fair. Like, he is like ridiculous.
I love those moves even more when they finish with a pass finish. Like those moves are so much better when you there's some when he smashes it into the net, it looks amazing. But when it's finished with a pass into the net, it just looks even better.
Yeah.
It's annoying to say it, but yeah.
The problem is you said that then, and I've just thought of a goal that was not scored by a team that was our friends. It made me think of the Wilshere goal. Oh God.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean, though? That cushion, that little cushion.
Everything about that goal was good, unfortunately.
But yeah, I mean, they've spent really good money. And doing really well. But yeah, Paqueta was so good for them. JWP was deeper this game, definitely than the previous game I'd seen him. Definitely, and maybe that's just because of the nature of the game, in that they're playing when they're playing the fixtures we think we want JWP, i.e., like home to Sheffield United. They are like, oh, I haven't got to be as defensive, so JWP can be the sitter. But he's still got forward plenty, and he's just, the set pieces are just relentless. They're just relentless.
Yeah.
They're a good team. Yeah, Kufal though, he looked like the asset that we all thought was well worth the money a couple of seasons ago.
Moving on.
Bowen's obviously now got loads of points. And it's really easy to say, is that I want Bowen like that. If you're on wildcard, that's what I want. 7.2 million quid. I think he's a good enabler for a lot of us. It actually takes, his baseline is so bad that it's actually really difficult for him to get any bonus. It's hard because of the other players in his team. But he's scoring.
Yeah. Consider that if Bowen gets a goal and JWP gets the assist, then JWP outscores Bowen.
Comfortably. Yeah.
Well, by a point.
But it's 7.2 million as opposed to, it's a lot more than the 6 millions, believe me. If you're on a no Salah strategy or a no Haaland strategy, I definitely would have Bowen in my team. Yeah, 100%. Not even a question. And then you have to look at that and say, well, actually, by going that extra, because do I expect Bowen to outscore JWP in points? I absolutely do. Yeah, not even a question of a doubt in that one, but it's because he's £1 million more.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, from a personal point of view, I feel like I'm restricted in my striker and my keeper. Like, I spent £1 million more on my keeper. I spent £1 million more on my striker. I've got 2 million I could free up. And that's the difference between me having a Bowen over a JWP, for example. I'm definitely strangled by a little bit by that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Which is a pain. Tough. So it says up next is Newcastle versus Burnley, but we're going to take a quick break and I'm going to cut the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast back, then there might be an advert. But we're back in a minute and we're going to do the mug giveaway. So, mug giveaway. So, yeah, we asked everyone on Thursday to, comment on the video. Basically, if you commented on the video on Thursday, this gives you an extra 30 seconds to go and comment on the video really quickly before I refresh it. But if you want one of these mugs, let's get it out of the box for you.
Even I haven't got one of these mugs.
No, even Baker hasn't got any mugs. Beautiful. Above average FPL mugs that will be sent to you tomorrow. Like if you come back to me today, then I'll send you tomorrow. But you have to be in the stream really to get this. So again, you've got another 30 seconds or so. And this is just purely for YouTube. Don't worry. The podcast listeners won't get this stuff, so don't worry. This is all about the live stuff, this is. And we've got a random YouTube comment picker. So this is the YouTube video, which was the Baker Resist Wall Proud. Says my mug, etc. Well, I'm preempting how bad this game week was going to be, clearly. So, another 20, 30 seconds, just because I know that the stream is like 20, 30 seconds behind. We'll just let people... Tell you what, let's just have a sip of a drink.
Let them. Just spin them. Get them out.
You love this, don't you? Right, so the YouTube video link is up. Add comment replies, no, because I've replied 1 million times. Filter duplicate users, yep. Number of winners, Solve the sum, 7 plus 6 is 13. Get the YouTube comments. How many comments are there? 63. Should we do it one more time?
Oh,
13.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm going to do it one more time. See if it changes. If it doesn't change, then that's it. We're done. 63. So still 63 comments. Okay, so there's 63 unique comments. We will chuck this on the main screen there. Boom. We'll spin it. So good luck. And if you're in stream, give us a shout straight away. And then send me a DM on Twitter and send me your address and I'll send it to you. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, we'll send it. If you're miles away, I'll pack it up really tightly so that it doesn't break. But yeah, good luck. And away we go.
Yeah.
And you'll see the comment that somebody left as well. So, Shafeen, congratulations on the nomination, guys. Voted for you, one of my favourite podcasts to listen to. Shafeen, are you in the chat? I don't know whether I've seen, or I might have seen Shafeen. Shafeen, just say hello, and then just...
Yes. No, it was just up. Literally up. He's
literally saying...
He's got it.
Jim, cheers, mate. Odegaard one must have felt good as well. Let's just zoom that in a little bit. There you go. Shafeen. There you are.
Nice one.
Beautiful. Shafeen, send us a message and I will get you. I've just put it away again. One of those above average FPL mugs. Free for you. Well done. And I'll send... There he is. There we go.
There
Brilliant.
he is.
And
we're getting more mugs. We've got some of these coasters. Got some of these.
Get more mugs.
Patreon guys, get some of these now.
Coasters and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're getting all the stuff.
We're having all the fun. All the colours and everything like that. So yeah, Shafeen, just drop me a message on Twitter, mate, and I'll get that to you. So well done to you.
Let's go. What's next?
Moving on, we got Newcastle versus Burnley. Welcome back to everyone on the podcast.
How much longer can we go on without having Kieran Trippier?
The thing is, I can do it now. Actually, I could do it now, but it just means that I have to forget like other things. So I could do I basically have. I tell you what I could do. I could do like Pope to Turner, and then I could just do Botman to Trips and just say that's it. I'm done. And like could just be okay. And I just had to work out whether that is worth it with the fixtures coming up. And I think they've got 3 fixtures that include like West Ham and Palace. So I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, but like this is the thing.
But they're doing the stuff. Like, look, they're doing the stuff. Like under
once
1
they
XG
start
again.
doing the stuff, they love doing the stuff. Do you know what I mean? And they just keep doing it. Like I actually had to check this morning. Even though I'd watched Match of the Day, I then went to check to see who were Burnley playing today because they haven't played their game in the double. Luton's away, Forest at home. It's just, you could just leave him. Maybe he's worth it.
Could do.
Oh, I've got a frozen screen apparently.
Yeah, so I see. But apparently we should be back now. We should be back now. I don't know what I've clicked. I don't know what I've clicked.
Something.
I clicked something. I must have clicked something.
I'm going to flick my camera on and off.
Switch it on, switch it off again. You're fine, mate. You're good. We're all good.
We're back. We're back.
Sorry.
Back.
Well, while we're sort of frozen and stopped, let's just quickly dive into that super chat from Steve Jones. Thanks, Steve, by the way. He says, hi, Adam Baker, Liverpool fan, not annoyed, honest. Captain shit again. Gonna swallow capsules with names in, and the first one I shit out gets the armband next week. I mean, that's as good as an option as any, to be fair.
I like it.
Have a drink. Cheers.
I like it.
That's all I've got left in my terms of my drink. So the rest of this is for you, Steve.
For anyone that missed, we just basically said that Trippier's still got a ridiculous run of fixtures up till 19, and hey, maybe we just need to do it. But we're definitely going to find reasons not to every week. Yeah.
But Steve, seriously, don't swallow too many capsules though. Not like, it's not that
bad. Yeah. I mean, I took Rashford out and went to Addison, but now I'm thinking maybe what I should have done is go straight down to a Diaby for maybe I just skip that business on having double Tottenham, and would have gone down to a Diaby, for example, if he's okay. We don't 100% know he's okay, and just got Trippier in as a defender.
I mean, I feel better the fact that I've got 2 transfers, so I can actually do something. I can make 3 transfers and take a -4. I can take make 4 transfers. Basically, mini wildcard 2 weeks after my wildcard and sort shit out.
But that we're all once anything on wildcards at the moment because people are continuing to wildcard. If you're too stale on it because the information's changed, then you are going to get left behind when people wildcard. Whereas if you're keeping up with it, not only did you gain the price rises, you actually are continuing to gain the price rises. That's what I'm telling myself. So as long as I stay with that crowd, so even if I don't make massive gains, I'm like, actually, I'm probably going to gain a load of value at least. And then at some point, hopefully it'll pay off. That's what I'm telling myself.
Are we missing out on a Newcastle attacker here? I mean...
Well, Gordon, the good thing about Gordon is he's now had his booking. So once that's gone,
Once that's gone,
You've got a really
he's
cheap man.
Free reign
Yeah.
from game week 9.
I mean, the thing with Gordon is he loves getting pens as well, doesn't he?
Fucking Share had 0.55 XG non-penalty.
Oh, mate. He snuck a bonus for us. But yeah, Gordon at 5.6, he's a very good enabler.
Yeah. So then I can do something like that. That'd be. Oh yeah. Can you imagine me bringing in Gordon on a -8 next week when he's suspended?
Yeah.
That seems a bit counterproductive, isn't it?
Sounds a bit.
But
I can see some of us doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might let it. I could let it go, and then next week I could, for example, I could do shit. But again, I'd have to just move my. I can't do it with Botman. That's the issue. I can only do it with Share. So I probably need to learn a bit more about Botman.
Yes, that would be.
If Botman is out for a month,
late fitness,
those harder
late
games.
Fitness test.
Yeah, late fitness test are out for a month. Then those late fitness tests, that month suddenly that they've got going forward suddenly looks not so good for clean sheets.
Yeah.
So maybe Trippier isn't as good.
Maybe not. But like 3.6 XG. How do you not ignore it from a Trippier perspective? First and foremost, mate. Like Trippier's got 30 points in 2 weeks. Animals. And I know we should be using points as a metric or whatever, but it's ridiculous.
It's a pretty good metric. Like I know everyone says it's not a metric, but like
points are the stuff that gets you FPL ranks.
Yeah.
In its simplest form.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We all need you at 3 points, mate.
Yeah.
We shouldn't pretend otherwise.
Newcastle good still. Burnley bad. I mean,
we need to go talk about Morris, mate. Let's move on to Luton.
Okay.
You don't want to, do you?
I really don't want to because it was the worst fucking defense. Like Mikalenko is like a League One defender. Like, can you imagine just standing there? I can just imagine on a Sunday morning at 12 years old when the left back has got a striker standing by him and nobody tells him. And you could just imagine that goal goes in and the manager just goes, right, you get the fuck off the pitch, you useless prick, because you should be watching the guy behind you. He's the guy that literally just... I mean, like, you can't give a striker at Championship/Premier League level. I'm not going to call him a Premier League level striker, but you can't give a professional striker that level of space. You just can't, and then just float one in at the back post and let him hit it on the half volley. With like the guy scores goals. Like he knows how to connect with those kind of things. It angers me because the defense was just so bad.
Morris absolutely knew about the FPL puntage, though, didn't he? Like he knew. Like he played like he knew. Like he every corner he was up like a salmon. He was a monster.
He did. He won a lot of things in there.
He was unlucky to not get obviously the assist with the first goal.
Yeah.
Then the goal was just a monster finish. Then disallowed. So he could have just had a huge haul.
Yeah, but we could see in midweek. We just see Burnley turn them over. This is what I like almost half expect is the Burnley that turn up and just play them off the park just because of the way they play the game. I mean, Everton.
Why are you still tempting this fate? Why are you still tempting fate on us?
It's not.
It's already hurt us, and now you're doing it again.
It doesn't make a difference, mate. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe.
You don't believe in that shit?
Wow.
Did you call me a prick yesterday for celebrating that I'd gone cash over a Superman?
Maybe. No.
Maybe.
No.
For me,
no.
For me,
no.
Are you saying that I jinxed it?
Yes, I called you a prick because
you don't believe in that stuff.
No. Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm saying. No. So okay, cool. Yeah, but that actually happened. You have to wait until it happens, and then you can call me out on it. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Look, roll him out if you got Morris.
Yeah, fine.
If he plays like that, he's well worth the 5.5 million.
Yeah, fair enough. Bastard.
Everton. Who knows what you're getting from Everton anyway?
I just don't understand how they can put up so much XG and just be beaten every week. I just don't get it. Like what is there? Like, I don't have it to hand, but what is there like open? What is their XG for the season, like compared to? They must be up there like top 5, top 6 for XG for the season. They must, just because of the fixtures. I mean, the fixtures are obviously a big help for that.
I guess Dyche is just basically trying to say, if you try and struggle your way out of this, if you just try and struggle all the way through it, you're definitely going down. If you try and go at it, you got a chance. But it just doesn't look like they're trying to work hard on the defence. Like old school Dyche for Burnley would have been like, I am shutting Luton down here. I am shutting them down.
Like they're
We'll get the
they're
chances.
8th. They're 8th for open play XG, and they are top for set play XG. It's good. That stuff's good.
It's
doing
good,
the
but
good stuff. It just got people that can't finish it.
And they're just too open to mistakes.
Yeah.
The mistakes are too bad. The mistakes are too bad. On we go. On we go. What we got left?
Sorry, I could hear noises and my wife's gone out, so
Oh,
I think it's the cat scratching at something. We've still got Bournemouth and Arsenal, and then we've still got Forest and Brentford.
good.
So Bournemouth and Arsenal, pretty routine penalty hokey cokey.
I mean, it's a bash up. It's a bash up. Like me as a Saka seller, you as a Saka non-owner. We haven't. Everyone was going to say we got unlucky around the penalties, but like we know that game. We know that we knew that game was bigger potential if they were already winning.
Yeah,
because Havertz only gets it because it's 2-0 up already.
Yeah,
blah blah blah. And we know that Odegaard, and let's face it, Odegaard's the best penalty taker in the club. Like they're so good when he takes them. They're so good. And Havertz is a good penalty taker. So they've got 3 good penalty takers. It will continue to happen occasionally. But what we have seen is that Saka still put up 0.9 non-penalty XG. And he put up 0.3 XA. Like just elite numbers again from Saka, even while he's clearly carrying injury and then has to go off.
Yeah.
It's
a bit weird that they wheeled him out this week with City next week though, because especially with the international break the other side, I just feel it's a bit weird.
What we know from Arteta, we shouldn't forget how stubborn Arteta is. We talked about it as a real big positive last season ad nauseum that Arteta, you kind of know it about Arteta. Arteta believes in himself big, and that works. That works because everyone buys into the way that he wants to play. Arteta is trying to push the needle in different ways of things that people haven't done, which is like nobody should think that's bad. Like, everyone makes a joke about him saying subbing keepers and stuff, but he's trying to push the envelope here, trying to create something, moving penalty takers. That's harder, isn't it? That's difficult. Saka took the penalty last week against us and hit one down the middle. Like when someone and you're like, like maybe that's not the best pressure, pen that he took. So maybe he thinks, tough away game. Maybe I'd already planned that Odegaard, who looks cool as you like, just going to put one in the centre. That maybe that's the clever play of how they do their games. And when he is this really stubborn man in terms of team sheets, like we every week we knew what it was. Last week we felt that Nketiah and Jesus didn't work. Playing him out on the left and playing Nketiah up top, and all match of the day didn't think it worked, and nobody else didn't think it worked. You just damn well know that Arteta's going to roll that team out again on the weekend, double down, and he's going to take them apart,
double down, win 4-0
XG, and go stuff you.
Yeah, it's true.
And what a message that is to then go into your team and say they doubted us. Like it says routine for them, but from their perspective, that's a great confidence booster for them going into that Man City game, as opposed to they didn't win this 4-0. They slipped up there.
Yeah. It's a 2xG game, not 3.5, but we'll let that slide.
Yeah. Non-pen. But even 2xG non-pen, still good, isn't it?
Still fine away from home. Still good away from home. Just go and do that and win games.
I think Bournemouth are in big trouble. I think like everyone knows Iriola's good manager and all the stuff he's done and stuff like that. But he's trying to get them to press hard and try to do stuff. But
you just don't
it's
have
with
the players
Bournemouth
for it.
No, like
just don't have the players.
Open to just get done in. Yeah, Saka. We'll find out midweek. We'll see how he is. But have a plan. If you have taken him out, like me, or you're not got him on your wild card, if you are wild carding this week, have a plan, because you do not want to go into Sheffield United in game week 10 without Saka.
Yeah,
you just don't.
Yep,
you don't.
No. No, I can't disagree with that. Let's finish off with Forest versus Brentford, because we were busy watching the golf. So
yeah, so I didn't watch the first half. I watched the second half.
Okay.
For this, I did watch the first half, and then second half. Once the golf looked like we were over the line, I was like, I'll put the second half on. So, and interestingly, so I didn't know anything about penalties that potentially might have happened, because they happened in the first half. I watched the second half, and then obviously watched the man get sent off, and then immediately they score, and that was ridiculous. The offside. There's like 9 players in a row. I refuse to believe that they found a way to find out who was the person that they were matching up against to work it out. But you could see they were just petrified after what's happened.
Oh, what happened yesterday? Yeah,
absolutely petrified of it. And you were like, "There's no way they're disallowing this, because somebody will find it and they'll draw the lines and do the stuff." No one was really comfortable that this was going to be offside, because it just, you couldn't tell that someone was offside. And then they just still sat back, and then obviously Forest were 10 men equalised. They just struggled to break him down. I mean, Bumo, if you just watch the second half, and if we don't for this moment, because we're not going to talk about the penalty bits yet, because we haven't got there, is you would be like, this is the worst option I could ever have, because he just couldn't. He still stayed outright whole game. He never come off that wing. Even when they were chasing against 10 men, he still stayed out on the wing. A lot of time, because a lot of it comes from like Jensen early on. You can't even see Bumo, because he was out of the camera view. It was just like Jensen there, and he was putting the ball in from that. He's like a little mini Beckham at times.
Yeah, that's why I hate him. That's why I hate him. He's just not. I mean, as you said last week, he's even less involved. And then he crops up at the end and gets grabs like 0.2 xG.
But he didn't today, because Mopé came on.
No, but he did have a pretty big chance at the end. Well, according to this, I didn't see it.
Snatch. It's a snatch. It's a rebound. It's a snatch. Like it weren't. Yeah. It weren't big. You never felt like he was getting points. And then obviously, after the game finishes, he's then heard Frank talk about pens, and I was like, oh. So and then I saw our friend Praz that tweeted the image of from behind, and I was like, oh my god, that must have been a massive thing type things. And then I sort of went back and I was like, oh, why didn't they make anything of this at the time? like Sky tweeted and said, oh, goal line clearance, because it was like. And literally, there's like 1,000 comments after that first thing. None of them mention a penalty. But then you see the Bolly one, and you're like, well, you can give all these as penalties. Yeah, it's just how far we want to go with this world. But we're now in such a bubble and such a cauldron and such a hatred of VAR, and also, like I say, because it's so triggering.
Everything's a penalty,
and they could all be a penalty.
Yeah,
they definitely could.
That's what I was saying to you earlier. I mean, Whistler gets to the ball and Turner goes through him. So, like, anywhere else on the pitch, that's a penalty. That's a foul, regardless of whether he gets up or not. Like, even if he gets up or not, there's no advantage. Like, if that happens just outside the box and then there's no advantage. The ref goes, yeah, that's a free kick. Yeah, bring that back. No advantage. Okay, cool. That's how it works. Perfect. Thanks. But why did that not happen in that instance? I mean, I know we're looking at this one thing in isolation, and it's a clearing action rather than a. But that doesn't really matter. I don't.
Well, we thought
understand.
it mattered when Vicario did it on a couple of weeks back. Like that, that these things. But even that, we're just not. None of us are sure anymore because we've seen Vicario do it and it doesn't get given. And the Flecker one with Gordon, then you've got this one. And so therefore, the other thing is we all compare this against this and say 2 wrongs should make a right, and I want my points.
I want my Boomo points. I want my replay the game, mate. We need to replay the game, and maybe I'll get some Boomo points next time.
All I know is like if he doesn't get a pen, he looks an appalling asset, but he could get a pen. That's the reason why we have pen. That's one of the reasons we get so triggered as well in some of these things is we all fill our team with penalty takers. And then therefore we give ourselves more opportunity. We're going to get annoyed every week, but we also give ourselves more opportunity that we're going to get one of these work for us.
I'd still rather have a penalty taker that does something. Like I want the penalty takers to do stuff. I mean, like that makes Saka really difficult.
Yeah,
Saka's really difficult for that. Boomer is obviously difficult because he doesn't get involved enough at the moment. Gets in moments and stuff. Tottenham, we still don't know who is the penalty taker, which is wonderful. Bruno's obviously been like deep and all this sort of stuff, but obviously he's the penalty taker. Obviously scored last week and stuff. Where else do we go after that? It's like Haaland. Yay!
I said earlier about not playing Flecker, mate, but he was so bad.
Like there's like just like 20 kilo weights in his feet. That header.
Yes. Yeah.
Did he think he was going over or something? I don't know what he thought he was going over. I don't know.
I just think he's terrible.
Yeah, he's not
young. He's like 30.
He was like a direct age replacement for Raya as well. Raya's about older, isn't he? Yeah, he's about a year older than Raya, I think.
Yeah,
it's like a year older.
He's
similar profile.
Good boy. Good.
Yeah,
I would almost be tempted if I was on wildcard now to do Areola and Straka, the reserve. Yeah, Strakosha. I think I'd be tempted to go Strakosha.
Just because you think he'll get his chance.
I think it's hard not to.
Not much else to take from this game.
Hard not to.
So with that,
because of DRB, if DRB's fit, because of needing monies, the Bowens, for example, of this world, Matomas you're going to want back in 10. Again, it's going to be hard with Puma. And I think because money's getting tighter and everyone's around wildcard as well, these price drops are really triggering people. So if you keep hold of Bumo this week, he's definitely going to drop this week, if not today.
He went down yesterday.
Definitely going to.
He went down last night.
He'll drop again this week. That won't be the only drop. And Rashford will definitely drop. So look, you can wait on transfers to the end of the week if you want, but I'm not having it.
Yep. Any other questions? FPL Matty Winler. Adam, reason you don't like the Diaz question is because you know that if it was the other way around on the red cards, you'd be saying it wasn't a red, as Jones shouldn't have had a red card. That is false. If that was the other way, I would be screaming at my player for making such a stupid challenge that would put him at the risk of getting a red card. That's pretty simple. Like, just let's move on. The Diaz decision is a terrible, terrible, terrible decision. The worst decision that has ever been made in the Premier League. And we saw Pedro Mendes score from the halfway line. So, we understand what bad decisions look like.
It's bad.
Anybody have any questions for Game Week 8? Anyone on Wildcard?
There's loads on Wildcard. I'm seeing loads. There's going to be a lot of Wildcard content.
What would you do with Botman? What would you do with Botman? Andy Mack asks. Nothing in the bank and already own trips and cash.
You've got Champions League this week, haven't you? So
yes.
You're going to find out.
Yeah.
You're going to find out. But I think it's probably an interesting one. I don't know if he's due to drop or not or anything like that because he's gone from like 4.5 to 4.7. And therefore, if he drops down, you might lose 0.1.
Yeah.
Try and wait for the Champions League pressers at least.
Yep. Govinda says he scored 67 points with Leno to play and has a rank rise from 183 to 48k. Is that any good? Yes. And where can you finish now? anywhere from 1st to 9 millionth is where you can finish now. Is you can finish pretty much anywhere because there's still 30 weeks to go.
Oh, mate.
So, but you've got like the world is at your feet with that kind of rank, mate. And yeah. So just keep doing what you're doing. Sell Bumo Lego. Oh, hi Dan. Lego Mane says sell Bumo, Rash, or Foden to Maddo. Bumo,
if you can do it.
Bumo. Just because the fixtures are better for Rashford and Foden's Foden.
Any contemplation on Salah cap this week? Coming.
I've got the fixtures here.
Brighton.
Away. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to a Tottenham player. It's terrible. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to a Tottenham player. There's just not enough. I just haven't got enough moves.
We'll see about that during the week. You'll have a think.
Maybe -8, captain this, captain that. I don't think I can quite get there.
I think the fact that Tottenham is the first game of the game week and early, and Arsenal Man City is the last game of the game week, I reckon nobody's taking it on. I reckon everyone's going to talk about it all week, and then nobody is actually going to end up doing it, and everyone's just going to captain Ireland because it's just easier. And I get it. Genuinely, I get it. Like, I know it shouldn't be that way, but if your brain would be scrambled for the whole weekend and you'd be just all over the place if you knew you were going into 180% Haaland at 4:30 on Sunday.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Don't back the early kickoff, as Gandhi did say. Spurs fans are triggered because they know Liverpool would have won. No, we don't know what would have happened, Monkey D. Ben, because the butterfly effect tells you that a million different things could have happened, so we don't know what would have happened.
Exactly. And that's a bit, right?
Who knows? We could have won 4-1. You could have beaten us 4-1. I mean, like, who knows? Who knows? We don't know.
All that people should be nice about is that first 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand though, but I understand that we're not the team that needs to be angry about it.
Yeah.
But it was good. That first 25 minutes was really good football.
Rob says, could Richie and Porro be good to get in and captain Son this week? I think Porro, yes. Richie, I still don't. I just think as a midfield position, you don't want to give it to Richie. Yeah, I just wouldn't. Great. Just wouldn't. There. A minute, still a minute's risk as well if Brennan comes back as well. So just be aware of that.
Need to know.
Yeah. Could you captain Alvarez instead of Haaland this week?
No.
No. Captain Son, says Matt Evans. Yeah, option, definitely. Luton away. So
it's definitely an option. It's definitely an option.
Aston Villa Bozzy says no one's captaining Watkins. I mean, Wolves have just beaten City, so I mean
the Sunday captains.
But it's one of those. It's one of those as well. It's one of those derby games as well. I don't know. I just could be. Could be open.
I think Salah cap might start gaining some popularity through the week because a little bit as well because it's another Sunday game. I think it might gain a bit more popularity for them. They're open. I think a lot will depend how they do midweek Europe, but I can see people going there because it's like, oh, at least I can just turn my TV off after 4:00.
Yeah. Hop Sausage says rank Cash, Porro, and Dallo. I think that's the order.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's the order. To be fair.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you say that Salah cap. Yeah, Brighton do concede chances for fun at the moment, and if they're not mentally ready for next week after having dealt with another international European game this week,
yeah, I'm
potentially.
I'm not against that one. You'd need some good stuff come out that would show that Son is going to be okay. You'd need to hear some positive reaffirmation. If you didn't know whether he's going to be off after 65 minutes or not, it becomes a difficult cap. And then if you said to me Maddo or Salah, I'll go Salah. Thanks.
Yeah, fair. Just a couple more and just one comment on this. So Barry says, how is West Ham still a hop-on fixture? I think Legamani does it based on league position last year. So top 6 are hop-ons. Everyone else is... Sorry, top 6 are hop-off. Everyone else is hop-on.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
That's about it. So yeah, it's pretty fixed. It's not dynamic. We do the best we can.
Cool.
And then one more.
I think there's a few that we've answered. We talked about Bowen, talked about Sun injury, Darwin worth a punt. The problem is that it's a similar thing to the Sun
we get
thing.
Europe
Is that
as well.
is that and then we get Europe, but then we've got 2 games, and then he's going to have another international break, and we just don't know this thing that he's managing. We just don't know. But if it seems like he's okay, and Gakpo looks like he's out for a little bit, and obviously we know Jota can't play next weekend. That's the other thing on Salah. Like, Jota can't play next weekend.
That's true.
And if we know Darwin's okay, Mo with Darwin is just magic.
Fireworks.
Magic.
Fireworks. Yeah. Let us call it there. We're past 10 o'clock now, which is a bit later than we normally finish, but that's all good. Just want to say, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to see more from us. Obviously, it was going to be a polarising one this week with obviously what happened in the game with Tottenham. We're 2 Tottenham fans. It just is what it is. Some people may think that there's bias in there. Fine, if that's how you feel, then okay. We've tried to be as objective as possible. But
there's going to be some.
There's going to be some. It just is what it is, and people in the chat are going to be the other way, and we just have to accept that's what it is. So, hope you've enjoyed the chat anyway. Shout out to Shafin. I will send you this mug and this poker chip. Just so I'll drop it in there for you and send it across to you. If you send me a message on Twitter, if you haven't done so already, make sure you do that before you leave. Is there anything else that you want to say, mate?
Like and subscribe on the way out, boys.
Like, subscribe, vote for us in the FCAs, and we will see you on Thursday. Cheers.